Today, I'm sharing with you everything I wish I knew sooner. I've been studying all things personal development for more than 25 years. I have spent thousands of hours, gone through a lot of trial and error, and ultimately unnecessary struggle to get to where I'm at today. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to give you everything you actually need to know to change your life, what I wish I knew sooner, and you're going to learn this all as, think of it like a master class in less than 60 minutes. So let's get started. The first step to creating any change in life is always awareness. So I'll write that down here. This is the first step. You have to become self-aware of your thoughts, emotional states, and habits that got you to where you're at today. This is what I call the thought cycle. So let's draw this out. Thoughts are the first domino in reality creation. And it's your thoughts that then create your emotional states. It's your emotions that drive your behaviors, your habits, your actions. And those three put together create the results you currently have in your life. This is the loop. This is how everything is created in your life. That's it. And the big thing I want to help you do today is simplify all this, because again, I'm telling you, it took me years and thousands of hours to intellectualize and analyze and try to figure all of this out until I paid attention to the patterns. This is how you create change. So here's why most people stay stuck. So remember, thoughts, emotional state, and your habits create your results in your life. So the dollars in your bank account based off this, your current relationships, success in business, your health, everything you could reverse engineer and look at these three things. So here's why most people stay stuck. And the statistic out there is that 92% of people fail at the goals they set. Why? Because everything out there is focused on the surface level, your habits. Habits aren't producing your results. They're part of it, but they're missing the other two parts of the equation. You have to get to the root cause, which is thoughts. But really, if we deep dive, this is your identity, your self-image, what you believe true about yourself, and the states you live from. Now, when I talk about your state, I'm talking about your mental, emotional states, your habitual thoughts and emotions. Now, most people have disempowering thoughts and living in a negative emotional states, such as stress is the number one thing keeping everybody stuck. But emotional states like stress, fear, doubt, worry, dwelling on the past, that is what's driving unwanted behaviors, vices, addictions, escapism, and being inconsistent. And that's why you have unwanted results in your life. So again, the reason most people fail is because you're stuck looking at the very surface level. So think about it like this. Think about a garden, and the identity and state you occupy is what's planting the seeds. You always reap what you sow. Now, if we think of your life as a garden and you're only trying to change at the habit level, it would be like going through, mowing the weeds, trying to make it look better, but you're not dealing with the root cause. You're not dealing with the seeds that were planted in the first place, which is what we're going to get into today. So this is what I want you to know. Very first part, awareness is the first step to creating change in your life. Your state and identity create every result in your life. Rather than trying to change at the surface level, your habits, you have to reverse engineer and look at the whole picture, which are your thoughts, emotional states, and habits creating your results. If you don't like the dollars in your bank account, your health, relationships, where you're at in business, you can reverse engineer and get back to the root cause, which is what we will deep dive today. I'm heavily going to impress on you and hammer it down that it's your state and identity that create everything. So the work I do with my coaching clients is all about creating version 2.0. It's becoming aware of who's been driving the results. Then step number 2 is about creating that clear aim. Despite your current circumstances, which are old news, it's only feedback on based how you've been operating. So despite your current circumstances, what do you want? And most importantly, who do you need to become? So that step 3 is all about application, the daily practices. And let me tell you, less is more. So this is what I coach my clients through. It's really about shifting identity. If you're ready to get out of your own way, I invite you to apply for one-on-one coaching. You can click on the link below in the description box or go to my website, heatherhakes.com. This is the fastest way to get from where you are to where you want to be. All right, now I want to deep dive how any of this began, which is all about your subconscious mind. And what I want to share with you is the idea of mental programming. And if we go back to that initial statistic, 92% of people fail. They don't fail because they don't want change. They don't sabotage because they want to. They sabotage because of their operating system, their subconscious mind. So if your desires, your goals, wishes, dreams, and hopes, which is your conscious mind, I will draw this out for you. If your goals are incongruent with your belief system, what I call your OS, your operating system, it creates internal resistance. For example, a lot of clients come to me, relationship ruts. So if you desire love, connection, a fulfilling, healthy relationship, but you're operating from feeling unworthy or not enough, or you believe there's no good men or women out there, that is in opposition. Your desires are in opposition with your belief system, and that's what creates resistance and repels the thing that you want. So again, if we go back to that mental garden, we're not here to mow the weeds, we're here to pull the weeds and plant new seeds. And when you get to the root cause, the operating system, your subconscious mind, you can create any results in life you choose. Health, finances, relationships, business, and any experience that you want. When you have congruence of your conscious and subconscious mind, so let's deep dive this. Here's what I want you to picture. I want you to picture the idea of an iceberg. The tip of the iceberg, what we can see above the water, is only 5%. This is what's known as your conscious mind. And as I just shared, these are your dreams, goals, wishes, etc. 5%, which is amazing. As long as you have clarity, you know what you want. But what most people fail to do is get into the subconscious mind, which is what I talk about often, the idea of autopilot. And it's your subconscious that is driving every result in your life. So you might be wondering, oh my gosh, what's in my subconscious mind? Dr. Bruce Lipton says that your life is a printout of your subconscious programming. So if we go back to the thought cycle, thoughts, emotions, actions, results. If we go back to this and you look at your results, the dollars in your bank account, the current status of your health, relationships, business success, happiness, fulfillment are simply reflecting to you your current subconscious programming. But before we deep dive that, you have to understand how this even got formed to begin with. And again, I'm going to keep this high level because you can spend years and thousands of hours like I did trying to understand all this. But if you just understand the high level points, you can create change in life. You can create the results you want. But you do have to understand the mental programming and how your subconscious mind got formed so that you can now consciously choose what you want to impress on your subconscious mind so that you can express what you want in reality. So let's talk about how your subconscious mind got formed and how you can rewire it. And that's really the work I do with my coaching clients, is rewiring your mental programming so that you are operating from the identity and state that you choose. So your subconscious mind, from birth up until about age 7, you are primarily in theta brainwave state. So let's talk about these. I'm gonna throw this visual up on the screen. But brain waves at a high level, you have beta, alpha, theta, delta. So these 4 brainwave states, you move through them throughout the day. When you're sleeping, you're in delta brainwave states. As you wake up in the morning, you're kind of in that foggy, groggy state, you're in theta. In the mornings when you're moving about and you're conscious and aware and you're getting ready for the day, you're in alpha. And like you're paying attention right now, whenever you're paying attention or in meetings or creating content needs a lot of focus, you're in beta. What happens for a lot of people, they get stuck in high beta. When you're living in high beta, you're in constant states of stress. This is why you have sleepless nights, you can't focus, you lack clarity, because your brain is stuck in this internal chaos mode. So when you're in high beta, it is not a time to create. You're constantly reacting. You're living in that survival mode, fight, flight, or freeze. And that's the thing. You can only do one of 2 things. You can survive your way through life, which is how most people live because you're stuck in stress, you're stuck in autopilot, or you can thrive, meaning you can create. But when you're stuck in these high beta brainwave states, when you're stressed out, when you're worried, when you're frustrated, when you're impatient, when you're angry, when you're dwelling on the past, you're stuck in survival mode. And you can't create the change you want from that state until you regulate your nervous system. Think about it like this. When you're living in that high beta brainwave state, when you're stuck in survival, it is as if your house is on fire. But you're trying to hustle and grind and work harder and be productive. So you're in the other room, decorating and moving around furniture, trying to be efficient. But your house is on fire. So you're stuck in survival. In order to create a better future, in order to stay living in that house, you have to put the fire out, which is all about nervous system regulation. Until you're regulated, you can't create change in your life. And I will get into that a little bit more. But I just want you to understand these brainwave states and where you're operating from that so you can learn how to self-manage. You can learn how to self-soothe. You can be more self-aware so that life and circumstances and the weather and people aren't controlling you. So, as the day goes on, you will move back from beta. Then think about it when you're at home in the evening, maybe watching TV or reading a book or chilling out. Now you've moved into alpha. When you're laying in bed before you fall asleep, you're back into that theta, kind of that drowsy state. And then when you are sleeping, you drop back into delta. So here's why I bring this up. Theta brainwave state. From birth up until about age 7, you are primarily functioning in theta brainwave state. Theta is hypnosis. So in those early primitive years, you don't have your analytical, logical mind yet. It's not even formed. So you take in everything as fact. And maybe you've heard this before, generational trauma, generational poverty. It's all conditioning and programming, and you're only living out your subconscious mind. But in those early years, when you're living in theta brainwave state, you are a sponge and you take in everything as fact. So what you learn from mom, dad, culture, environment, you can only repeat because that has been what's impressed on your subconscious mind, your operating system. So kind of like your smartphone. There's nothing inherently wrong with your smartphone. And right now with you, there's nothing inherently wrong with you and you are not broken. But if you don't have the results that you want, it means that you have buggy or viruses running in your subconscious mind, keeping you stuck, creating that internal friction, keeping you in high beta stress, keeping you in survival. Hopefully I brought that full circle and helped you understand. So, The good news is it doesn't matter what's currently in your subconscious mind, that software that's running. So your subconscious mind is full of your beliefs, your self-image, memories, good or bad, etc. And if you don't become aware of your subconscious mind, which remember is simply your life is a printout of what's in there, you can't create change in your life. You can't stay surface level in the conscious mind without accessing the subconscious. So here's why I taught you about brainwave states. Theta brainwave state is self-hypnosis. Napoleon Hill talked about this in his book, Think and Grow Rich. He used the word autosuggestion. But you have the power twice a day naturally. You can also get into theta brainwave state through meditation, breath work, stillness, creating presence. But without having to work and try to get into that state, you're naturally in it 2 times a day. When? First thing in the morning when you're waking up and you're coming to, and in bed right before you fall asleep, you're naturally in theta brainwave state. This is your opportunity to intentionally impress. This is when you get to use your conscious mind, 5%, to impress on your subconscious mind. So this is when affirmations could be useful, but affirmations on their own are only 5% going against 95% of your programming. So here's what you need to know. The language of the subconscious mind is emotion. So the big thing here, when you're in this theta brainwave state, morning and evening, is using your conscious mind, feeling yourself, seeing yourself in that loving, thriving relationship, thinking and feeling yourself having that successful business, thinking and feeling financial abundance, financial freedom, financial flow, thinking and feeling that healthy lifestyle, confidence, certainty, feeling back in control of your life. So in the theta brainwave state is when you have the power to impress through repetition and consistency what you want to express in reality. So remember, birth up until age 7 is when it was formed through repetition and consistency. These are what's called creating your neural networks in your brain. So you have neural networks, you have belief clusters around money, love, success, everything in your life. And they were formed through repetition and consistency. Beliefs are just thoughts you have thought over time. So if you don't have what you want in your life, you currently have neural networks based on old conditioning, old programming, likely from other people, which is running the show and keeping you stuck. So by consciously choosing those prime opportunities every single day. So I think about this as like going to the mental gym. Just like you go to the physical gym to strengthen bicep or your muscles, you don't go once and you're set for life, right? This has to become repetition. It becomes a lifestyle. It becomes a way of being. So if you intentionally spend a few minutes a day, morning and evening, before you get on your phone, before you check email, before you default back into the old programming, and you are consciously choosing how you want to think, how you want to feel, what you want to experience, and you get up from your meditation as that state of being, and you act in alignment, what you want becomes inevitable. Financial freedom, inevitable. Healthy and fitness, inevitable. Love and connection, inevitable. Success, freedom, whatever it is you want, become inevitable because everything is coming from your state of being, the identity that you are operating from. And now that you're upgrading the operating system, you will upgrade your results. So now we have covered first step, awareness. You have to become aware of what's going on in the subconscious mind. Second step, despite where you're currently at in all of the major life buckets, which are simply a reflection of the old ways of thinking and being, how you've shown up, it's just feedback. What do you want? You have to get really clear. Your mind is a goal-achieving machine. It wants clear goals. And then through daily application and consistency, this is how you upgrade your state and identity, which now let me get into that piece of it. And what you want becomes inevitable. Again, this took me years to intellectualize, to analyze, to understand, but I really want to keep this high level and simple for you because change in your life is simple once you know the principles. It's not necessarily easy at first, but neither is building muscle. Neither is doing any new thing at first, but through repetition and consistency, you build the confidence, you build the certainty, and then you understand life is a big game. This is your playbook. So now let's get into the application piece. As I really emphasized, you have to regulate your nervous system first to get you out of survival. So let's talk more about that. And this is a framework I'm going to share with you that I teach my coaching clients, which is what I call the 5R method. Because once you create awareness, and look, awareness doesn't stop. You have to stay self-aware. And you're human. You're going to default back into that old subconscious programming. But catching it is a win. And it's like this catch and replace until those new thoughts and emotions are installed, and it's just who you become. It's just who you are. And so, as I shared with you the idea of my 5R method. And this is the big thing. Because in order to get out of survival mode, in order to break the addictions to stress, and stress is an addiction, it's important to note that your current state and current identity are primarily three things. You are a set of, as I shared, neurological, so you have those neural networks, beliefs. You are a set of neurological, chemical, meaning the emotional states you're operating from, and most people are living in stress. So you have that incoherence, internal anxiety, internal chaos. And when you have internal chaos, you have external chaos because life is just mirroring your internal state. So you are a set of conditioned and programmed neural networks, chemical addictions to those emotional states, and an energetic body. Perhaps you have heard of this before. Spirituality calls this an aura. Neuroscience calls it your electromagnetic field. So you have an electromagnetic field based on your states of being. Your thoughts and emotions create your vibe, your energy. Now this is literally measurable. But your thoughts, think of them as the electrical signal. They're your conscious mind, remember? But if 5% is going against 95%, that's why you don't have what you want. So thoughts are the electrical signal. But your heart, your emotional body, that subconscious mind is 5,000 times stronger than the brain. So 5,000 times stronger. Remember, I said the subconscious mind speaks in emotion. So thoughts are electrical and your emotions are magnetic. So when you can get these coherent, when you can get your mind and body in alignment and no longer in opposition, thinking one thing, feeling another, when you can align your thoughts and emotions, things you want happen quickly. Now this is when we could get into the idea of manifestation, but manifesting isn't woo-woo. Manifesting is how thoughts become things. Whatever you focus on, you get more of. So this is about intentionally disciplining your mental, emotional states. Because when you can, and remember, that's why you program twice a day in theta brainwave state, morning and evening. Because now you're putting in those mental, emotional reps to stay conscious and aware so you can create the results that you want. When you can discipline mentally and emotionally, you can create any outcome you choose. But most people stuck in survival, stuck in high stress, have lost the mental, emotional game, and you'll continue to get unwanted results every time. So now that you understand the parts and the moving pieces and mental programming, nervous system, let's get into this 5R method. So here's what I talk about and what I coach my clients through. Because really what this comes down to is, in order to create new results, you have to upgrade from the identity and state that you operate from. Again, neuroscience calls this rewiring, and that's what it really is. You're rewiring those neural networks in your mind. You're rewiring the chemical states you operate from. You're no longer living in stress, worry, doubt, frustration, dwelling on the past, and you're thinking and feeling in alignment, elevated emotional states. When these 3 things change, everything in your life changes with it. But that's why it's not a habit game. It's an identity and state upgrade. So first step to upgrade, you have to regulate your nervous system. This is what took me so long to finally integrate, embody, and understand, because I was still living in stress, hustle, and grind. And think about it, the Western culture has taught us to live that way. So I'm out here trying harder, and I'm not getting the results I want. Why? Because I was operating from lack, scarcity, stress, and worry, which is a dysregulated nervous system. My house was on fire, but I'm trying to be productive, which keeps you stuck in survival. So how you break free of survival and that stress loop is learning how to regulate. The easiest way to do this is always breath work, because breath brings you back to presence. It gets you out of dwelling on the past. It gets you out of being anxious about the future, and it brings you right here, right now. Because right now, in this moment, is anything really wrong in this moment? No. So you have to regulate your nervous system. So there's other ways to do this. Cold exposure, cold showers, ice baths, meditation. I do meditation every single morning, sometimes midday, sometimes again in the evening. But for me, that's what calms my nervous system and helps me discipline my mental, emotional states. So I've laid out a few for you there. Meditation, breath work, cold exposure is the fastest, easiest way to regulate the nervous system. Once you're regulated and your house isn't on fire, now we're moving out of survival and we can move into creation. So the second step that I teach is rewire. Remember, your current results are a printout of your subconscious mind. So if you don't have what you want, you clearly have disempowering beliefs or conscious desires in opposition with your subconscious mind. So rewiring is impressing on your subconscious mind what you want to express in reality. You want to impress calm, certainty, abundance, love, connection, ease, freedom. You want to be thinking and feeling, and this is the rewire, thinking and feeling, because now you're combining conscious and subconscious. You have everything working together in alignment, and you become really powerful. So second step is in that theta brainwave state, rewire. While you're in that meditation and rewire, now it's about rehearsal. It's rehearsing. So you can use your 5 senses to create an imaginative experience. Now, this isn't visualization on its own, because visualizing is just your conscious mind. You need that somatic experience, because what language is the subconscious mind using? Emotion. So if you can create a vivid, sensory, detailed, imaginative experience. So for example, let's say you're broke, barely getting by, but you're thinking and feeling abundant. You're seeing $10,000 in your bank account. You're feeling grateful and free when bills come in because you have enough to pay, but you're creating this internal, imaginatory, vivid experience. Now you're rehearsing that new state that you're operating from and the new identity, somebody who is financially free. This new version of you. Now, rehearsing goes for everything. If you want love and connection, you need to be rehearsing. What's it like feeling your significant other's hand, going on a dinner date, snuggling on the couch, whatever that experience would be for you. I want to emphasize here though, this is not fake it till you make it. It's not acting as if, because again, that's using your conscious mind against the subconscious, 5% against 95%, and your subconscious mind will reject it. That's why affirmations, let's say you're broke. Affirmations, I'm wealthy, I'm abundant, I'm free. Your subconscious will go, no, you're not. You're in debt. You're barely getting by. So it's not act as if, fake it till you make it. This is embody it through state and identity until you experience it. This is creating those new neural networks, the new belief system, the new self-image, creating these new chemical states, elevated emotions, gratitude, joy, freedom versus stress, frustration, worry, doubt. And when you're thinking and feeling, you have a new energetic baseline, this new signal you're putting out. This is the key to all of it. It's embodiment. So we regulated our nervous system, we put the fire out. We're rewiring by impressing on our subconscious what we want to express. We're rehearsing, we're feeling it through embodiment, what we want, who we want to be. Now this is the big one. You have to remain in this state throughout your day. This is also something I struggled with. It's great to have an amazing morning meditation and you're feeling so good. But if you spend the next 15 hours of your day defaulting back into those survival states, stress, worry, ruminating on the past, feeling broke, feeling lonely, now you defaulted back to that old identity, and that identity is what's driving the show. So it's about remaining in this state throughout your day. And when you remain in this mental, emotional state, your actions, your habits naturally follow. You don't have to try to eat healthy. You are a healthy person. And when you remain in this state, that's how what you want becomes inevitable, which is where the fifth R comes in. You then receive what it is that you desire. This is bringing it full circle. And this is what I missed for so long. I wasn't regulated. My house was on fire and I'm trying to create change. Or I might have a good meditation, but I didn't remain in the state. I kept defaulting. I kept checking for evidence, refreshing my bank account or checking my inbox or checking my social media feeds for validation and approval. That's how you get stuck and you stay in survival for the rest of your life. But not you, not after today, not after learning all of this. When you put this into play and you actually apply what you have learned today and you regulate daily and you rewire what you want to be, how you want to think and feel, and you rehearse those end states and you get up and you live your life as that version of you, what you want becomes inevitable. And then you get that this is a game. This is your playbook. The 1% aren't lucky. They're not smarter. They're not luckier. They understand these fundamental basic principles and they put them into play. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What questions do you have? Where do I need to deep dive this even further? Drop them in the comments below. And if you're ready to fast track where you are to where you want to be, I again invite you to apply for coaching by visiting my website, heatherhakes.com. The final message I'll leave you with this. If you put these three into play, you become and stay self-aware, you have clear aims, you do the daily work, by using the 5R method, you can create any outcome you choose. Thanks for watching today's video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you're the first to know when new videos drop. And give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one.